Hello there, YouTube Nation. I'm Tiberius Jones, and this is Game Jones. Thanks for stopping by. Today I'm going to be talking about Mythgard CCG. I did an earlier video on this, which was really brief. It was like 5 minutes, and it just covered some real basics. This is going to be quite a bit more in-depth, even though I'm still going to try to keep this to right around 15 minutes total. This should give you a lot greater insight into strategies for the game, as far as what cards you should be playing, what is mana and what is gems, what are gems, and why are they important, and why do you have to know how to use them together to use your cards effectively, and what it means when you're building a deck. Burning cards, some good strategies for burning cards and choosing what cards you do want to burn versus ones that you want to hold on to. And then ways that you can learn from what your opponent is doing during the game and after the game, which is hugely important because it's going to save you a lot of heartache down the road from making stupid mistakes. And trust me, you're going to make lots of stupid mistakes early on in this game. And then also, I'm going to show you how you can actually customize your decks, make them as pretty and as lovely as you would like to do. So let's get into it. So mana versus gems. What is mana? What is gems? Every time you burn a card, you get 1 mana. Doesn't matter how strong that card is. It could be a 3 mana 4 gem card. It still is only going to give you 1 mana when you actually burn the card, as far as mana that you can use on your turn. So that's how mana is accumulated. And then gems, as you burn cards in the lower left hand corner, it's going to keep track of the cards that you burned, right? So how I normally start out is my deck is primarily red with blue and purple cards in support. So I usually try to burn a blue card first because Forked Lightning is a card that I know I'm going to want to use. It's a blue card that requires 1 blue gem, so I knock that out of the park right away and just get that set up so that if my Forked Lightning comes into my hand, I'm ready to use it. Then on my next 3 turns, I burn 3 red cards in succession because I know that down the road, by the time I get to turns 3, 4, and 5, especially 4 and 5, there's a good chance that I'm going to have to or want to use my Magmatar card, which is a 5 mana 3 red gem card. So I need to have those 3 red gems accumulated and have 5 mana. Again, the mana doesn't matter as far as it can be any combination of cards, but in this case I have to have 3 of those cards have been red to have 3 red gems accumulated. So this is how you start to be able to play multiple colored cards in the same deck and use them effectively, because in one turn I can play well, it rarely happens, but up to 3 cards at one time. Like I can run a Forked Lightning and then a Minotaur, which is only 1 red gem and 1 mana, and then something else that's maybe 2 mana and 2 red gems, or a purple card or whatever, and I can run all 3 of those or 2 of those at the same time and do it in an effective way. When it comes to burning cards, everybody seems like a little bit different philosophy on this. But what I found is early on when I first started playing the game, I was burning a lot of my high strength cards first, thinking that, well, I'm not going to need these till later down the road, so I might as well use those to burn so that I can use small cards right now, thinking that that was going to gain me either position or have me set up to do some damage early on. But what I actually found was, when it came to the mid and late stages of the game, I didn't have any strong cards to use, or they weren't coming back up into my hand as quickly as I needed them to. So the first thing I can tell you is when it comes to deck building, make sure that you really try to limit yourself to as many actionable cards as possible. So if you like enchantments, pick the 2 or 3 that are your favorites and don't keep any more than that, because you want to have cards that you can either attack with, defend with, or hurt your opponent with in some form or fashion. If you don't, then you're going to end up getting a lot of cards in your hands that really don't do you any good. So when it comes to burning cards, what I've been doing now is I'm actually burning the weaker cards first. That way when turns 4 and 5 come around, even 3, 4, and 5, I've got stronger cards in my hand that I can actually do some real damage with. So it doesn't really matter if my opponent has jumped out in front and they have the position on the board at that moment, and they might have 3 or 4 or even 5 or 6 cards out on the board, but they're all either, it's what seems to be the trend is there'll be 2 defensive cards, 2 defender cards where you have to attack them before you can attack anything next to them. A lot of people will set up 2 defender cards, on 1 on each side of the board, and then they'll put their attacking pieces around them. But if I've got strong cards to come out of the gate with in turns 3, 4, and 5, I can turn that advantage around really, really quickly. And you'll see that that's the case, especially because I carry 4 ignition cards, 4 forked lightning, and then 2 Valkyrie Enforcer cards. The Valkyrie Enforcer especially is super important because, as far as I know, it's one of the very few, if not the only, basically omnipotent card in the board or in the deck, because it can literally take off any piece on the board in one fell swoop. So that guy that I'm playing against, he can lay down a 9/9, 10/10, 10/12 card, doesn't matter. My 5 mana, 3 red gem, or I'm sorry, it's I think the Valkyrie Enforcer is, I want to say it's 3 blue gems and 4 mana. That sounds right. It might be 5 mana, but I think it's only 3 or 4. But you have to have the 3 gems. Take off any piece, though. I mean, it's an incredibly powerful piece. So that's my advice for burning cards. Burn your lower ones first. Save the high ones for when you need them. Unless the high card is something that needs to be forged, because you have to remember, if the card says, if it gives in the description forged, that means that you have to burn that card to forge it and get that, whatever that benefit is, listed as forged. That's the only way you get it. You don't get that benefit right away. You have to burn it and wait for it to come back up in your hand to be able to use that forged ability. So that's pretty much that. Now, as far as gaining position, again, the most important thing to me is you want to control those outside 6 lanes. So take the second from the left, second from the right, and then work your way from outside in to control the board. That seems to be the best way to do it, as far as I can tell. Now, another hugely important thing is pay attention to what cards your opponent is playing and what cards they're burning. You can just click on their cards just like you can click on your own and see exactly what they're doing and what they're burning, because whatever they're burning is going to come back to haunt you down the road in the game. So you want to be aware of what you are going to be expecting to see come back around on you, assuming they've built a lean deck the way that I've described, where 90% of my cards are actionable cards. If they've done it the same way, those cards are, you can count your you can just count on the fact that those cards are going to come around to bite you in the butt later down the road. So pay attention to that. Now, taking that a step further, once your game is over, whether you win or lose, you can go into your profile in the lower left-hand corner, and there'll be 4 tabs at the top, and one of them is History. And that's actually a history of all the games that you've played. I think it goes back at least 25 games for sure. I don't know if it goes back farther than that or not. I haven't looked to see if it does. But you can basically click on the game in the list, and then you'll get the option to either click on the opponent's profile or watch. And you can actually watch an entire replay of that game from beginning to end, and it's interactive. So you can actually, while the game is playing, you can pause it if you want and have unlimited time to click on your opponent's cards, his burn cards, read all the description, really get a lot of super useful information, especially like if you have a game where there was a key moment in the game that either won you or lost you the game. You want to go back to those moments and try to learn from them, because it's going to really save you, it's going to speed up your learning curve in a huge way. Once I started doing that, I improved within 2 or 3 days. I feel like I was 10 times better at this game just by reviewing previous games that I had played. Plus, it's fun. If you make a huge comeback, like I had a game where I came back, I was down 28-5. Thought for sure I was screwed. I actually ended up coming back and winning. It was unbelievable. I've probably watched that replay like 10 times to learn what I did well in that game, and then also just because it's fun. I'm like, dude, that comeback was amazing. And watching that, his score go from 28 and mine from 5, and see him get whittled down to where now it was 6-5, and then I had the pieces on the board to kill him. I knew it's coming. It's just really fun to watch. So yeah, definitely use the history and profile to review games and learn from your mistakes. And then lastly, customizing decks. If you want to make your decks look a certain way, you're going to unlock a lot of different options pretty quickly in the game, as far as the art that goes on the back of the cards, the trim, the overall design of the back of the cards, and then you can also choose specific artwork to have on the front of the cards. And your opponent sees those too, so it's kind of cool. I've customized my cards and I've changed them periodically. The only thing I haven't unlocked yet is anything where I can customize the board. I still haven't unlocked anything board-wise. I don't know why or how long it takes to do that, but my cards are, I like the way my cards look now. So, and to do that, you just go into decks, edit. You can change the name of the deck, obviously, and then you can, you'll have options for card style, or no, I think it's card back is what it's called, then card trim, and then art, the card art. So, and you'll see at the top what you have unlocked that you can choose from. So that's basically it. That should give you some really good insight on mana versus gems, how to burn cards, how to effectively build a deck of multiple colors and how to use them, why it's important to have actionable cards and not necessarily a bunch of esoteric cards. I'd rather have cards that I can attack with or defend with rather than cards that just bolster my minions. Those are nice to have, don't get me wrong, but in the overall scheme of things, I want cards to be popping up in my hand that I can actually play with, So that's the whole thing as far as I'm concerned. So hopefully this has been helpful for you guys. I tried to keep it under 15 minutes, and it looks like I'm going to come in just under 12 minutes. So yay, job well done and mission accomplished. If you guys liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and I would love to see you guys subscribe. I'm posting videos pretty regularly. I mean, I'm not doing it every other day or anything, but as I come across stuff that I think you guys might enjoy, I'll be posting stuff. So if you sign up for notifications, and you'll get a notification, just hit a little notification bell, and anytime I post something new, you will receive a message. So that's basically it. Again, I'm Tiberius Jones. This is Game Jones. Really appreciate you guys stopping by. Have a great day. I am out.